your job.
Put the gun down before you kill someone.
Teenage Girl's Diary.
Hello and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
And we're the Newly Deads. Thank you very much for tuning in again. This is a half-hour chat show where we have watched a movie and we're going to talk about said movie with you fine folks. If this is something you're listening to, we also air this as a podcast. On usually Spotify is where I upload it. So you can also listen to us if you are watching it. And if you're listening to us, this is a visual show. So we highly recommend that you check us out because Mr. Newly Dead does a lot of editing. A lot of it is visual editing. And sometimes we have dogs show up. So that's always fun to see. But you can also find all of our content if you're looking for us. So at our website, which is thenewlydeads.com. On that website, you'll find information about events that we are doing, where you'll find out information about our other shows that we do on YouTube. Mr. Newly Dead does unboxing videos. Sometimes we do follow us around, which that's been a hot minute since we've done that. We do snack videos. We just recorded a whole bunch, so he's going to be doing a lot of editing, I'm sure, with that and getting those uploaded. It's called Sinister Snacks. So you can watch us on YouTube and find all of that information at our website. We also write blogs. So he does blog posts about movies that he's watched that aren't necessarily this show. And occasionally I'll do small business reviews. And if you're interested in that, you can always contact us at contact@thenewlydeads.com to submit some information and just let us know that you're interested, and I will send you the link for the survey. So that pretty much covers most of that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we have watched a movie this week, and we always have some criteria for these movies that we watch. The criteria for the show is that the movie needs to be under $5. It needs to be a movie that we've never watched before. And it needs to be either a horror, sci-fi, or thriller genre type movie. The movie that we watched this week was The Haunting of Molly Bannister. We were lovingly calling it Bolly Manister, so you'll see that. I'm sure we'll say that frequently. I wrote it in my notes, Bolly Manister. So would you like me to read the synopsis on this bad boy, and then we can kind of start going through the motions here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. This is looks like a Dollar Tree find, possibly. Okay. The synopsis, actually, I'll read a couple of things. This is, I've done unspeakable things on the front. And then it says it's a killer combination of Carrie meets Child's Play. And I can't read the name of who said that because it is small and it is in red print. And I can't, that is
somebody at something.com.
Next to impossible to read that. I'm not going to continue trying. All right. Here we go. After the death of their eldest sister, the women of the Bannister family begin to feel that something is very wrong. Trapped inside the house feels menacing. The youngest sister, Molly, is getting sick. There are strange noises in the night and a constant feeling that they're being watched. What is wrong with Molly? And why does her doll seem to appear everywhere they go? More importantly, will anyone be able to get out of the house alive? So
that Bolly Manister,
that crazy Bolly Manister with her crazy dolly. And
I'm going to probably say that this is not going to be spoiler free.
It is not spoiler free. A lot of our movies that we watch are not spoiler free, unless we really, really, really want you to watch them, and then we'll do our very best not to try to spoil like the ending or anything like that.
I think this one we kind of, you'll find out. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah. But first, before we get there, we're going to watch the trailer. And again, if this is something you're listening to, this is why we usually say you should watch it, because he likes to put funny little trailer things up here. So, and he messes with the trailer sometimes and makes little fart noises. And so if you're listening to it, sometimes it doesn't make as much sense. But today, the trailer is going to be coming from my side.
Hi.
Very specific. Okay.
It's coming from my side. And it is, let's just make it like a little creepy carriage with like a dolly in it. Did you do that?
Find out.
All right. With like a squeaky wheel.
Of course, because you love the squeaky
I
wheel.
do like the squeakies. So hopefully that happened.
We'll find out.
Find out when we watch it, when you watch it. And right now what we're going to do is we're going to pause it. We'll let you take a gander at this fine piece of film, and then we'll be back to discuss it. So we'll be right back.
I don't know. I can ask, but I don't know what they'll say.
Molly? Who are you talking to, darling?
Molly.
Something was watching me, staring at me, looking right at me.
Stand.
He's getting worse.
Dorothy.
That thing is alive, like what he said it is.
I think our daughter is possessed by something. Something that came in that thing.
I don't feel safe here, Mom.
Hello?
There's something wrong with my daughter.
Whatever it is. Take over your sister. Forever.
Hopefully you enjoyed that fine trailer that he put up there for you. All right, so let's get into it.
Yeah. So every week I take notes. Like she said, sometimes she takes notes. This year, her goal is to take notes every week.
Yep.
So far, she's managed that. At the end of the year, Mrs. Newlid puts them together in a little flip book, and that's available on our website. So 2023 and 2024 are currently available. I usually put up an image here so you can see kind of what they look like. Go check it out at our aforementioned page, and you can see what I write, pictures I draw, and the stuff she describes to you as well. So this week,
he drew some tentacles. Is that like in preparation for the movie that we're gonna be watching? So just a lot of tentacles and like a little head.
That's the octopus head, yeah.
Okay.
And then the tentacles kind of all around my notes, which I've done something similar before. It's not anything new for me, but I felt like drawing tentacles because I like drawing tentacles. So I love octopi.
I know. Octopi.
Octopi. What did you draw?
Oh, I drew some trees.
She did, and
just lots and lots of trees.
She just recently drew a tree that she absolutely
it.
loved, and so she's just continuing to practice. That's another of her goals for this year is to kind of take she's reading a book
called "You Can Draw in 30 Days" by Mark Kistler,
and it's walking her through all the stuff that you kind of learn in school and beyond that, actually. So
I'm just happy that I actually know how to draw a tree trunk now, because you always try to draw a tree and I don't know, at least for me, it just never looked right. But
trees are hard.
There was a pretty easy way to do it, and I feel like it's working well for me. So
yeah, you're making big progress in a short amount of time. So 30 days is pretty accurate with this book.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, It's available everywhere. I'll put the information up here like I did on the previous video where she talked about it.
He's also on
So-
Facebook, I think, and maybe Instagram. So you can follow him, and he actually does like drawing things, like, you know, on his Facebook page and stuff too. So
This is
and
an unsolicited ad.
probably on YouTube as well.
But if you're interested and you want to learn how to draw in 30 days, check it out.
Yep.
So The Haunting of Molly Bannister is from 2019, currently sitting at 3.2 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database. This was written and directed by M.J. Dixon, who's got quite a plethora of films in his filmography. All the movies I'm about to mention, he both wrote and directed, and this is just a small smattering of what's out there. So, Slapril Fool's Day, which is a short film,
We'll have to
actually,
watch that.
but I had to include it because
Yeah.
I love the title. Slasher House, the first one, and Slasher House 2, which includes characters from this movie in his M.J. Dixon universe. I don't know.
Interesting.
But at the end of the movie, it said Molly Bannister, whatever, will be back in Slasher House 2. And I did a little reading after the movie. And apparently there's a crossover with a bunch of his films in this Slasher House thing. Cleaver, Rise of the Killer Clown, which I thought sounded fun.
Funny.
Strawman, and Cleavers, Killer Clowns, which is pluralized.
Lots of clowns.
So Killer Clowns, it's a popular subgenre of horror films. Because a lot of people have, you know, is it
You have a killer
claustrophobia?
clown on your arm. I mean, I would consider
Oh,
Spaulding.
Captain Spaulding? I don't know. He's just yeah, I guess technically.
he's a killer clown.
So this stars Susan Lee Burton, pardon me, who was in Return of Punch and Judy, which
Okay.
we talked about Punch and Judy not that long
Mhm.
ago. Warrior Sisters, which sounds like a Joel movie, and Area 51 Incident. Sounds
Interesting.
spacey. This also stars Emmeline Hartley, who was in Hellraiser,
Okay.
not Hellraiser.
Hmm.
No, I guess that's what's that, Paul Reiser, if he was like Satan.
Yeah.
Tawn 19, that's TAWN 19. Don't know what that means? Look it up, kids. Outlawed, and something called Dragon Kingdom. Just sounds like a nice cross-section of different films. And finally, Grant Kempster, who was in 2023, which was released in 2015. So I thought that was funny. Deadheading, which we watched and reviewed.
Yes, I remember that. That's the one where she was on the plane.
She's a killer stewardess.
Yep.
That was a weirdie. I actually used that in something you'll be seeing soon. A clip from it, actually, but that's not happened yet, so I shouldn't maybe talk about that.
Yeah, it's fine.
And Slasher House 3, which was written and directed by M.J. Dixon.
Nice.
So Slasher House is a franchise in and of itself. At this point, my wife turns to me and says,
What'd you think?
now we really get into what we think of Molly Bannister. So it's an odd opening with VHS, with I
It's a
wrote,
Christmas.
yeah, they're opening their Christmas presents. There's what did I say, 5 of them in this little tiny English living room. Like they must have rented
Yeah.
a flat because it's
a teeny
really
little-
small.
Mm,
It's think of a duplex, but maybe
yeah.
like half a duplex. It's pretty
Right.
tiny.
Yeah.
And the kids are all opening their presents. Each of them has one present that they get to before they cut the video. And what's weird is that one of the older daughters, not the oldest, the middle daughter, who's probably 19 or
Yeah, at
so,
least.
gets a toy truck. I thought that was really strange. But then Molly Bannister gets the doll that,
And no
ends
one
up-
knows where the doll came from. So she's like, "Oh, it's me." And then she like opens it and they're like, why'd you get her that doll? And he's like, "I didn't get her that doll."
did you get her that doll? And she's like,
No.
I didn't get her
And then
that doll."
they're like, "Where'd you get that from?" And then she's like, "I asked Santa for it."
Good job, Satan.
And it's
Santa.
one of those like porcelain dolls, like looking kind of dolls. It's like, I don't think it's porcelain necessarily, but it looks like one of those if you can imagine.
like a Temu porcelain doll. So I wrote that Dolly wants to kill, and Dolly framed the father for the murder of the oldest daughter.
Yeah.
But somehow Dad got off from the charge and ends up going to live on his own, away from his family. And it's supposed to be that he's, separated from her, but his reality is he's trying to keep them safe and also trying to get a plan together how to get rid of the doll because he knows what it's capable of. There's a point where the mom keeps trying to make the little girl Molly
Hot chocolate.
hot chocolate before she goes to bed, which, number one, if you're a parent, that's a bad idea. But at first, it looked like she was making instant coffee, and so I said the real horror is instant coffee. Then I thought it was tea, which I'm not a big tea drinker. Mrs. Newley drinks tea, and then I realized it was hot chocolate when she's like, "It's hot chocolate."
Yeah.
And then it became a thing throughout the entire film.
Yes.
Then they're watching a documentary series on murderers, and they mention 3 very big serial killers: Hitler, Jack the Ripper, and John Wayne.
Just John Wayne. I was like the Duke?
Yeah, she's like, did they say John Wayne? I'm like, I don't know. That's what I thought I heard. So we rewound it. It didn't say John Wayne Gacy. They said John Wayne. So apparently, saddle up the mules. That John Wayne was apparently a serial killer.
Yes.
So then fast forward. You fast forward after the Christmas, and this is I'm already talked about stuff that's in the future. They don't tell you how far in the future that they go, but the youngest or the middle daughter is like 20s, working a regular job. I don't know if she's in college or out of college, but it seems like she's aged quite a bit. The oldest daughter was living on her own when she got killed. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just really like a mystery. But the younger girl is still the same age, so
was it 6 months, and then everybody just like really advanced?
No, and then it says like 6 months after that. So it's like they show this videotape, and then they show the older daughter get murdered, and then it's like 6 months after that. So it's like I don't know like what the time frame was from her opening the doll to like the oldest daughter getting killed.
It's very unclear.
It's very unclear. And I don't like the fact that like the kills were off the screen. So, when the daughter gets killed, I understand they're trying to make it like a mystery and they're not trying to show the murderer or whatever, but like you could show like, I don't know, a hatchet or something going in her head. Like she's literally like,
oh no,
dead. Like,
you eventually see some murders at the very end, but up to that, it's very innocuous and unknown. It's very slow moving. There's not really a soundtrack to it. There's minimal storyline. I swear that the dad and the middle daughter are about the same age.
Yeah.
The mom is the only one that looks age appropriate. It's clear that they rented the flat for the purpose of the movie because there was nothing in it except for a couple of things hanging on the wall, and that's it. So either they're really minimalist or
like there was barely any furniture. There was nothing in the kitchen. Like, it was weird.
And I do have to give credit because as I was reading through the credits, that's funny. There was 9 people listed in the credits, and one of them was a guy by the name of Jack Kempster. Must be related to Grant Kempster, I guess, who played the doll monster. That was his only credit ever. And we'll get to the doll monster later, but I thought it was weird.
That was the only thing that was kind of creepy.
It had its moments, but it got worse the further it got into it. They have cheap attempts at jump scares. The acting is super subpar.
The noises were weird. The cinematography wasn't great.
There was a lot of dumb decisions. Like they're talking about the doll when the doll is literally in the trash can just 2 feet from them and can hear whatever they're saying if it's, listening. And they're just like acting like it's not there.
Weird dinosaur noises I wrote down.
And there was like plates breaking in rooms where there were no plates when they were looking for the girl was freaking out looking for her doll. Then there was the infamous closet conversation.
Yeah. I know why I said I would not come out of the bathroom.
Why?
Because the girl or whatever, like you chased her or whatever, the mom got chased into the bathroom or whatever. And like she was like looking into the door or whatever, and she could clearly see that the girl was like coming after her or like the creepy doll thing or whatever. And she just like waits like 30 seconds and then opens up the door. I'm like, I wouldn't come out of the bathroom. I'd be like calling somebody and being like, somebody needs to come over here and clear the house before my ass comes out of it.
I mean, she had the phone and she was trying to call she kept trying to get the psychiatrist or psychologist to come over and
the doctor
to check on the daughter.
The doctor, I need the doctor.
But nobody ever came. Good job. The closet conversation, which I don't know, maybe I'll have to edit it in.
So which one is it?
Any that tripped.
I can't see anything. It's pitch black in here.
Well, there used to be a torch in here before.
I think it's down there on the bottom shelf.
Got it. It's up here.
I know where it is, Kenneth. It's not like I don't do this all the time.
You just flip back up any that are flipped down.
I am. It's not working.
Are you sure you're doing it right?
I can flip switches just fine. I've been doing it just fine for months.
Here, let me do it. I didn't want this, okay?
Do we have to do this now?
I just wanted to be here.
Please.
For my family, for you, for Molly, for Dottie.
Put it in, but it's just one of the worst bits of acting and dialogue I've ever seen in a film.
I said weird acting.
It was, I even rewound it to watch it again so she could see it, because what happened?
I fell asleep. Like legit fell asleep. I mean, I wrote enough notes though, and I remember enough of the movie that I know that it was not a great movie. I don't have anything that I liked from this movie.
You saw the ending though, which is the most important part, which we should probably get to that, because otherwise we're going to run out of time. So the doll monster essentially is, there's a physical manifestation of the doll, but in a creature form. It's like 6 foot something tall in a dress with weird like segmented fingers and a mask over its face that's supposed to be, you know, like the porcelain head, but it's obviously a mask. And it just like would show up towards the end and like walk around and eventually I think killed somebody. I don't remember exactly. But the dad comes over finally to confront it and stop the whole thing. He throws the doll in a plastic trash can.
Sets it on fire.
They set it on fire in the plastic trash can.
In their kitchen.
In their kitchen. There's like smoke coming out and there's suddenly like snow in the kitchen. We couldn't figure out if it was just an after, because you can do that and I'll do it here. See, there's snow in the air and you can do that. But why? I think it was supposed to be ash. I don't know. But the trash can didn't burn up, even though it was plastic. And then they, you know, they think everything's done, because once they do that,
like, oh, this house is clean now.
Polly Manister is like, oh, I feel so much better. I'm good now, and everybody's happy. And the dad's like, you know, I shouldn't stay. I'm going to go home and get my stuff. I'll come back in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah, because they blamed the girl's murder on the dad. Because like when he came home, the cops were following him for some reason or whatever. And then when he came home, he picked up the knife
for some reason
that had killed his daughter. And then the cops like come in or whatever, and they like blamed him for it or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, hey,
he's kind of estranged now from the family and doesn't live with them anymore.
Put the knife down,
sir,
buddy. Or something, buddy. So he's at home and he's looking at some photos, because the daughter's like, here's some photos that you can have that don't, because then they find out in the old or the new photos after the doll came around that the face of the Molly was all distorted and looked like kind of like the doll.
It looked like the doll monster.
So the girl, the middle sister, gave him a book of photos and like, here's some other photos that you can have that don't have, you know, the distortion, so you can enjoy some good photos. Why, I don't know, because he was just coming back the next day to move back in, I think. But he gets home and he's looking at the photos and he realizes
all along
Molly was the possessed even before the doll.
Every single photo they have of her, she looks like a creepy doll. Like, you've never noticed in any photo that you've ever taken of your child that they had a creepy doll face?
Yeah, these photos are not just haphazardly in a collection. They're in a book under plastic, had been sorted and arranged.
Put them in there and like, yeah.
So either A, she was possessed at some other point and the pictures changed after the fact, or they're just really that oblivious or have some sort of impairment that they couldn't see her face. I don't know. It was really, and then all of a sudden the murders start happening. The mom gets, you know, killed. The daughter gets killed. The dad comes home to find the daughter stabbed. He thinks she's dead. So he kills Polly Manister in the tub.
Yep.
And then he goes to, you know, check on his daughter because he realizes she's still alive. For some reason, the cops show up. Don't know why. And because nobody called him that we can tell, unless the neighbor next door heard some ruckus.
Yeah.
The cops come in and they're like, hey, buddy, what's going on again? And they're holding the guns on him. And he's had taken the knife out and is holding it again.
Again.
And they're like, you know, you're gonna have to come into custody with us or whatever. And then the guy goes to check on the Molly in the tub, realize there's a pulse, and credits.
The end.
And they're like, Molly will be back in Slasher House 2.
Great.
And we're like, okay. And if you look at the picture for Slasher House 2, the poster, clearly Molly is in the photo with the doll. So I don't know how the doll survived the fire, but somehow the doll survived the fire.
So do you have
End of
a synopsis or like a review that you want to say, like a one-liner like me?
That's a thing that happened.
I said, my review is Z's, a bunch of Z's. I said, snooze fest of a movie. The Haunting of Bali Manister is more frighteningly annoying rather than frightening.
Yeah. It was... I have a Letterboxd account, and if you ever want to go check that out, I'll put the link up here. But on my Letterboxd account, I didn't even know what to say. I didn't remember what I wrote, but it was something just like, basically like that was the thing that happened. It was essentially what I wrote in there, because I was just like,
so out of
what the hell?
Out of 5 dollies, what would you give it?
Well, I wrote it down on here in really small print so you couldn't see it, just in case you got a sneak peek at my notes. I gave it a negative 666 out of 10.
I gave it a negative 20.
Out of 5, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
10 is when we do food.
I gave it a negative 10 or negative 20.
Negative 20. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was trying to be clever.
That is funny, actually.
But yeah, we don't recommend you watch this. I'm halfway curious to watch Slasher House 2.
Unless you want to take a good nap.
Just to see if the filmmaking gets any better. Because, if you make enough films eventually, you're going to do something right. But this was not a prime example of MJ Dixon. And I'm sorry, MJ, if you're watching.
Sorry, MJ.
I appreciate the effort, but...
I'm blowing you up.
That's a thing that happened too.
All right. So if they don't want to watch Molly Bannister, a.k.a. Molly Manister.
The Haunting of Hill Molly Manister House.
What should they watch?
So this was pretty easy. I feel like the best thing that I can recommend is 1987's Dolls, directed by Stuart Gordon, from Charles Band's Empire Pictures before it folded. We just watched this on my birthday last year, not this year, in the box set, the Empire box set that came out. And it's about some people's cars break down and they end up staying the night with this older couple who have a room, just dolls everywhere, and the dolls apparently are living, and bad things start to happen, of course.
Yeah.
So if you've never seen it, it's kind of an 80s, midnight movie kind of classic. So
yeah. So what are we watching next week?
This is the last movie. This is number 99 before episode 100. 99. And this one we just got recently, and I said was something I was excited about because it's something a little different.
Well, Nicolas Cage is in it,
which is 2023.
Big shocker. Yeah, it's from 2023. When did you get, or where did you get this at?
I don't want to say. The store that we don't like to go to very often, but I had to.
Yeah.
It was at Walmart.
Yeah.
I happened to be there, and I looked through their $5 bin because I had to go get something, and it was the only place that was open. And I was like, I can't not get it. It's an A24 movie. And just the one shot of him wearing the Freddy Krueger glove, which I don't think is on the back there, has caught my attention. And the premise sounds interesting. So I don't know that it's horror, thriller, or sci-fi, but it's somewhere in the middle.
It says it's a comedy. So,
but
I don't know.
Deals with a guy that, well, you'll read the synopsis.
Yeah, it's called Dream Scenario. Meet the
right.
man of your dreams. So it does kind of sound sci-fi-ish, right? Maybe.
Well, you have to read the synopsis.
All right, let's read the synopsis.
Yeah.
It says, hapless family man Paul Matthews, which is Nicolas Cage, finds his life turned upside down when millions of strangers suddenly start seeing him in their dreams. Oh, like Freddy Krueger. That's funny. But when his nighttime appearances take a nightmarish turn, Paul is forced to navigate his newfound stardom in this wickedly entertaining comedy from writer-director Christoph Borgli, Sick of Myself, and producer Ari Aster.
Which Ari Aster is, if you know A24, you know Ari Aster's work, including Hereditary. So it sounds just bizarre enough. No, it sounds a little bit closer to what we watched than Visioneers did.
Yeah, exactly. So, if somebody's seeing somebody in their dreams, and like it does say nightmarish, I can see that would be considered.
I haven't seen a trailer. The only thing I've ever seen is the image that's on there, and then the image of him with like a Freddy Krueger glove at one point.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of funny, actually.
It's nice to get a little bit of a left turn.
What's
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera's in it.
Yep. So. There's a bunch of people in it, actually. I already wrote my notes for it. So.
All right. Well, I'm excited. All right. Well, that's another episode wrapped up for us. Again, if you're watching this and it's before the show that we're going to be doing for our 100th episode, come check us out. And until next week,
Keep it cheap and creepy, and don't watch Molly Bannister.
bye.
Go look after your mother and sister. Where are you going?
I'm gonna finish this. Goodbye, Tom.
Ha ha ha!